Hi everyone, my name is Shanim Rabiatul Adawiyah binti Shohaili. My metric number is 2021727249. I'm as a lecturer of Business and Management at Mara University of Technology, UITM.
Hi, my name is Nur Nadira binti Umar. My metric number is 2021117335. I am as a Human Resource Executive Counselor.
Hi, my name is Nur Ismail Azhar binti Muhammad. As the economy student, my metric number is 2021766259. I am from BA2322A.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Wan Nurul Izzah binti Washam Suri. My metric number is 20211799909. I will be as lecturer of Business Economics from Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia.
Hello, my name is Nurul Anis binti Muhammad Nasir. I am Economics Counselor from Swasta Company.
Hi everyone, my name is Ni Ainul Najihah binti Rahman Elias Omar. My metric number is 2021156869 and I'm as a financial expert.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and good morning to all panels.
Hi and Assalamualaikum, good morning everyone.
So, our topic today is about should minimum wages be raised? As to start our discussions today, the minimum wage policy is the lowest remunerations paid by the employer to the employee, rendering to the governmental legislations. My view on these sessions, the minimum wage should not be raised because it gives negative impact on some individual parties. According to the research in China, the negative impact on the minimum wage policy changes has reduced less skilled workers, such as people who only have below vocational school degrees. And this is stated this matter triggered concern, especially to those less fortunate in their service position. This is because the firm might change from low-skilled workers to high-skilled workers to meet those requirements and qualifications of the minimum wage policy. That said, this is worsen the poverty level of the less fortunate employees. Contrary, when the labor cost increase, some firms are forced to cut the working hours and minimize their overtime. Other firms might change from full-time workers to part-time workers so that it fits with the financial firm's cost. Not to mention that most parties are affected, especially to the lower employees, by the reductions or dismissals of employment to fulfill the requirement.
I'm agree with Miss Yun about her view. In my opinion, raising the minimum wage would help the workers stay relieved from the effect of the recession. The impact of raising the wage absolutely might be positive as minimum wage workers will spend their new earning immediately and they also generate a positive impact on GDP and relate for the modest employment growth. Furthermore, minimum wage should be raising because it would ensure the portion of the country labor productivity gain in our country. A great deal of research show that higher minimum wage benefit workers by adding to their income while causing a little unemployment. There are many ways to adjust their paying higher wage by increasing price, accepting reduced profit, and lastly offsetting higher wage costs with increasing ability by adopting higher work practices. Moreover, raising the minimum wage to RM5.77 per hour will benefit millions of workers whose characteristics such as gender, age, race and ethnicity, educational attainment, work hour, family income and family composition contradict some commonly held beliefs about minimum wage workers. In Malaysia, the government has increased the minimum wage for major towns under 56 city and municipality council. Increasing the minimum wage was implemented to relieve the rising cost of living by 56%. In advance, the government has increased the maternity leave for 60 days to 90 days. In fact, increasing the minimum wage can make family income more stable.
But, in my opinion, the minimum wage should not be raised. It is because this method is often discussed with different economic theories, and it leads to different predictions. According to one view, the minimum wage will increase labor costs beyond the marginal productivity level of an employee's low wage. So, with that, the price of goods will go out of the market. In my view, an increase in the minimum wage will have an impact on a company. This is because an increased minimum wage will result in a company raising the price of their goods and their service to customers. The effect of rising price of goods and service will make customers less, and customers will start to shift to buy goods or use service from other enterprises. This effect is called the scale effect.
Thank you for the questions. Okay, in my opinion, minimum wages should be raised. It is because we can minimize poverty trap in Malaysia through increasing the minimum wages. As we know, we are now focusing on Malaysia development. We also can see that another developed country use the method raising minimum wages of their employee for all industry at their country to minimize poverty trap. And minimize poverty trap is also under government policy, which may include minimum wages regulation of labor markets. For example, statutory minimum wages. We can see in raising minimum wages can increase the benefit to the poor especially. This also include the national minimum wages, which government could increase the national minimum wages at our Malaysian country. Okay, so as financial expert, I think that this is an effective way to increasing the income of the low paid and therefore reducing wages inequality. With raising minimum wages, we can reduce the poverty trap among citizens so that their standard of living could increase.
I think there is truth in the opinion of Dr. Najiha. However, I still think that the minimum wage should not be raised because an increase in labour costs. Increase in minimum wage can raise labour costs by reducing demand for workers or increasing output prices. Firms are forced to increase their labour costs as the minimum wage rises. As Mrs. Nadira said, the increase in labour costs may cause business to reduce labour hours or shift from full-time to part-time employment, lowering employee wages. As a result of the higher labour costs, some firms may employ fewer people than they work under a lower minimum wages. However, employment may increase for specific workers or in certain conditions. The amount of jobless, not merely unemployed, workers will reflect change in employment. Those who have dropped out of the working force are considered jobless. Labour cost increasing legislation can either increase overall employment or increase hours for workers, but not both. They reduce the total quantity of work done in the market, such as the total number of person hours, which is calculated by multiplying the number of workers by the number of hours worked. This loss must be weighed against the potential benefits of higher costs for specific groups of workers.
In my opinion, minimum wage should be raised. Minimum wage can increase economic activity. Minimum wage increase move gross domestic product away from lower skill businesses and to a higher skill one. And they are mainly unsuccessful in supporting the poor during both the business cycle. Peace and true. During economic downturn, minimum wage induced job losses are observed to be greater. Furthermore, act as a growth engine by allocating income to employees who have relatively high marginal levels of spending. Increasing the minimum wage also can grow the economy by raising household spending, benefit businesses, company profits, and help the economy expand.
You may be right, Ms. No, but I had to disagree on that matter. As we know, the policy changes give negative impact on most SMEs industries due to their inability to bear operating costs and can even lead to failure in employee costs. In Malaysia, the profit margin is only around 3 to 5%, and it does give rigid to support the increase of labor cost. Let's take a look on the childcare business, also known as a small service business. In this regard, the current changes in economic development have provided opportunities for small business to continue to grow in terms of the knowledge and innovations. In fact, can strengthen the competitiveness and present in the market, but study has found otherwise. The research found that almost 70% of registered childcare in Pahang are unable to fulfill the minimum wage condition. Moreover, 36 out of 203 registered centers are closed due to the unbearable operating costs. Not only that, the situation is made worse when the impact of this wage increase affect the participation of the professional women in the labor force in the service sector. In this case, the service sectors, especially in small and medium enterprise business, is important to take into account to revise the cost and pricing strategies that enables the business to cope with the changes and operational competencies.
Next, I still stick with my opinion, which is minimum wages should be raised at our Malaysian country, because raising in minimum wages can reduce dependence on unskilled foreign workers, then can increase number of local workers. Okay, so we look back at our country's transformation plan, towards our vision with the objective of securing higher income status, reduce poverty, and reduce unskilled foreign workers to increase the employment among local workers are one of that. We can see how many companies in Malaysia that use foreign workers just because they are paid with low wages. This kind of thing should not happen because it can cause more Malaysians to be unemployed and can affect the economic growth of the country. We can see by raising the minimum wages in our country, it can contribute to some extent to reducing the unemployment rates among Malaysians and can help people to improve their standard of living.
To support my point in why raising the minimum wage should not be raised is because the affected business will at least partially offset higher labour expenses by raising prices on their own customers. Fast food restaurant, for example, might raise burger and fries pricing to accommodate a greater compensation for their minimum wage employees. The possibility of price increase is extremely significant to the topic of whether or not the minimum wage is a useful tool for assisting low-paid workers. As a result, even if we ignore the prospect of disemployment impact on low-wage workers who may lose their job if the minimum wage is raised, we can assume that raising the minimum wage will certainly benefit the poor. The reason for this is that increasing the minimum wage may end up disproportionately taxing poorly people via increased retail prices and spreading the rewards to those who are largely over the poverty line.
As we know now, the virus of COVID-19 has been spreading aggressively around the world right now. Many countries need to close their own door for incoming people from other countries. This is because they need to prevent anything bad from happening. Many things that we can do to boost up our company. The government can increase the minimum wage to support job growth for the recovering economy. Businesses often argue that minimum wage laws set an unnatural price floor. This agreement conveniently ignores the human needs for food, shelter, and financial security. For example, the US economy rewarded business owners with the extraordinary profit generated directly from the exploitation of low-income individuals and families. Moreover, vaccine distribution beginning in early 2021 sparked a sustained nationwide economic recovery. Employment grew by 60.8% or 2.2 million jobs in that time. However, job growth varies significantly across states, particularly when comparing minimum wage and tip minimum wage level. A minimum fee for an hour is quickly becoming the minimum expectation for workers in the new economic reality created by COVID-19, especially from those in unpaying and even dangerous frontliner jobs. Average wage have been rising across all industries, but especially in leisure and hospitality since the start of the recovery in January 2021.
Second, in my opinion, when the minimum wage is raised, the firm will decide to replace some workers with the use of machine and some skilled workers to operate the product or goods. This effect is called the substitution effect. This effect will result in workers losing their jobs. Therefore, I do not agree that the minimum wage increase is because it will not only affect a sector or enterprise, it will also affect workers and will increase the unemployment rate in Malaysia. And also, it will lead to a difference in the status quo between skilled and unskilled workers. When every minimum wage is raised, then the status quo is different. This is because the salaries of less skilled workers and skilled workers are the same. The payment of equal wage to skilled and unskilled workers in a particular job is common and can be seen clearly in the public sector.
Minimum wages not only assist to increase economic growth and channel productivity increase into higher wages, and they can also help to increase worker productivity, both at the individual company level and throughout the entire economy. Workers may be inspired to work harder in the workplace. They may also stay with their job for extended periods of time, earning important experience while also encouraging companies and employees to participate in productive output training. Minimum wages can result in more productive employment, replace less productive one, and surviving firms becoming more efficient at the aggregate levels. These processes have the potential to boost overall productivity across the economy. Next, workers can be motivated, resulting in increased output. As a productivity rises, so does service. According to study, when employees believe they are paid fairly, their attitude and work ethic increase. Productivity increase in connection with the expansion of human capital. Increased productivity is one of the ways economists believe the macroeconomy expands. Hence, an increase in the minimum wages is considered to result in a rise in a country's gross domestic product overall. Although this is still the result of a single empirical research, if there is a link between workers' human capital and gross domestic product, it would seem reasonable to anticipate that raising the minimum wages will attract more human capital into lower paying positions and help the economy expand. In conclusion, there are many positive and negative impacts on increasing minimum wages, so it depends on their employer to choose what is the best for their employee and business, as this matter might be implemented in the future. I guess that's all for our discussion. Thank you for all panels to be together in sharing information and opinions. And thank you for all for listening.